Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the August 15th Board of County Commissioner meeting. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first thing on our agenda are our minutes. Gentlemen, do we have any additions or corrections?
I do not.
I do not.
Okay,
I move to approve the proceedings for Board of County Commissioners for Montezuma County for August 8th, 2023 as presented.
Second.
been moved and seconded to accept the proceedings of the Board of Commissioners, Montezuma County, August 8th, 2023. Is there any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next up we have planning. And it looks like we have a public hearing in it. I see Mr. Lovett and Mr. Krater.
That's correct.
Come on down.
How you doing?
All right. Well, this being the time set aside for a public hearing, Kim, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Candelaria.
Here.
Commissioner Lindsay.
Here.
Commissioner Copenhaver.
Here.
Administrator Anderson.
Here.
Attorney McLaren.
Here.
And Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for review and determination regarding a proposed two-lot moderate subdivision and AR 3-9 rezoning application submitted by Jim and Sharon Krater, agent Keenen Lovett, on property located at 4303 Road 21, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 20 acres more or less, located west of Road 21, north of Road D, situated in Section 24, Township 35 North, Range 17 West, N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, August 15, 2023 at 9 a.m. in the Commissioners' Hearing Room, Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the Planning Office online services at https://co-montezuma-co.smartgovcommunity.com public home. You may also contact the Planning Department at 970-565-2801 with questions. Dated this 14th day of July, 2023, Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado, published in the Journal on Wednesday, August 1st, 2023.
All right, thank you, Kim. Okay, Don, if you'll give us an overview.
Sure. The Kraters are applying to split off roughly 3 acres from their 20-acre parcel there in the northeast corner. Access would be off of Road 21. That's basically it.
That's it. All right. Then, Mr. Lovett, I will give you the opportunity.
That was an accurate description of what's going on.
Okay.
I don't have really anything further unless the commissioners have specific questions for us.
Gentlemen?
I don't.
I just have a question, and not that it really matters, but how did you just come up with the configuration of a triangle? Just
the way the property lays, our daughter and son-in-law are gonna be putting a modular up there. And if you looked at it on a topographic map, it drops off into the drainage to the west. Good view, best access.
Oh, okay, because I mean, it's hard to see that from here, but it's,
Yeah.
you don't see a triangle a lot. I was just kind of curious. I mean, it meets the 3-acre minimum for a subdivision, but just curious of a triangle. So, planning and zoning,
They were unanimous to recommend it for approval.
okay. All right. Anything else?
No, I don't have anything further.
All right. Well, with that then, I will open this up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this application, please come forward to the podium. State your name and address prior to providing your comments, and you may address the board at this time. Okay, seeing no public comment, I'll close the public comment session of this application, and I will bring it back to the commissioners. Gentlemen, do you have any other?
No, I don't.
I really don't either, and I know what they're talking about as far as the way that falls
Yeah.
off on that backside. It's really,
Yeah,
I understand why he's trying to do that, so.
okay.
It's not, I don't have any problem with it. I move we approve this proposed two-lot moderate subdivision AR 3-9 rezoning application submitted by Jim and Sharon Krater at property located at 4303 Road 21, Cortez, Colorado.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the proposed two-lot moderate subdivision and AR 339 rezoning application submitted by Jim and Sharon Krater, agent Keenen Lovett, on property located at 4303 Road 21, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 20 acres more or less. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I will close this public hearing. Gentlemen, thank you for your time, and you are approved.
Thank you for your time. We'll get you a final Mylar to sign, so, thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep. All right, we have 3 minutes. Do you have anything that we need to sign, Don?
We do not this week have anything for signature.
Okay. Travis, do you have anything you want to put in there for a couple minutes that you can do? No, sir, I don't. Okay. All right, well then we'll just hang tight for 2 minutes until the required time presents itself. But the next public hearing will be with Larry and Liana Wright. Are they here? If you would like, you can go ahead and come on up here. We'll get you ready and get going as soon as the clock strikes 10. All right, it is 9:10 and we have another public hearing. Would you call the roll, please, Kim?
Commissioner Candelaria,
Here.
Commissioner Lindsey,
Here.
Commissioner Copenhaver,
Here.
Administrator Anderson,
Here.
Attorney McLaren,
Here.
Kent Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for review and determination regarding a proposed three-lot moderate subdivision and AR 3-9 rezoning application submitted by Larry and Liana Wright on property located at 8435 Road 25, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 19.85 acres, more or less, located west of Road 25, north of Road H, situated in Section 34, Township 36 North, Range 16 West, N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, August 15th, 2023 at 9:10 a.m. in the Commissioners' Hearing Room, Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the planning office online services at https://co-montezuma-co.smartgovcommunity.com public home. You may also contact the planning department at 970-565-2801 with questions. Dated this 14th day of July, 2023. Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado. Published in the Journal on Wednesday, August 1st, 2023.
All right, thank you, Kim. Okay, Don?
Yes, the Wrights are proposing to split off 2 3-acre parcels from their property. Their residence is at the top, and they are splitting that off, one for their son and one for their daughter. Access will be off at 25. For the south lot, they have talked with Rob on a driveway access, and that's not a problem. The north 3-acre lot, there's actually a gate access just north of there, so that it's possible they could use that in the future with an easement through what would be lot 1 down to the middle lot. But Rob's checked that all out, and he doesn't have any issues with driveways right through there.
And I mean, I'll ask this question because obviously we know where that's at. They access for septic? Because it's all
It would
rock.
be
That's a lot of rock.
closer there to the southeast corner of both lots, just because further back is mostly all rock.
Yeah.
The son's looking to build sooner rather than later on the south lot, and I'm not sure of schedule on the daughter.
We just wanted to do them both with one whack because of the fees. So.
Okay. Well then, I will give you the opportunity to say anything or present anything that you need to present.
Okay. Basically, it'll be have to be an engineered septic, and there'll be cistern for the moment. I think there is plans eventually for water to come down from the city limits all the way to where we are, but there is no county water to our residents or the residents below, so they'll be operating off of a cistern. And so they're looking at a modular home being installed here soon, actually.
Okay. All right, commissioners, questions?
I don't have any right now.
Okay.
You don't know of any problems we've had with these other residences in that area with their septics, have we?
No, we haven't heard of any
Yeah, I
issues.
I mean, over the past, this has always been a concern with as much rock as there is there, whether that.
Right. They may have to over excavate just to get the right depth of system to bedrock, but I mean, that can be achieved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be.
May I speak?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
The Wes from, is it American West Homes? He actually said that he can pull a lot of that dirt that's closer to the road a little further back for that, for the septic system.
Okay.
And if not, of course, they can bring more in if needed.
There is pretty good elevation too from the spot where they'd want to build their house, where they can put that engineered septic, so there is proper drainage to get the flow down to it
Mhm.
and into the leach field, so.
Okay. All right. Well, then, I will open this application up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this application, come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you may address the board at this time. Okay, seeing no public comment, I'll close the public comment for this application and bring it back into the board, gentlemen.
I don't have anything else. Gerald?
Was the planning commission?
They were unanimous to recommend it for approval. No conditions, no problems.
All right, I would so move we approve the proposed 3-lot moderate subdivision and AR 3 through 9 rezoning application submitted by Larry and Liana Wright on property located at 3435 Road 25, Cortez.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept a proposed three-lot moderate subdivision and AR 339 rezoning application submitted by Larry Liana Wright on property located at 8435 Road 25, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 19.85 acres more or less. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I will close this public hearing, and you have been approved. Thank you all for your time.
Just
Thank
be-
you. Thank you.
Just be cognizant of the setbacks.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks.
You know, I'm gonna skip around. We have 3 minutes here. I think I'm gonna go to unfinished business, and we had a couple of signings that we needed to do, one for AAA and one for senior services. We discussed both of these in our workshop yesterday as presented by Jennifer Morris. I think one was for Commissioner, $100,000, and one was
$142,000.
$142,750. And the other one was for
50,000.
or 50,000.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any other discussion or issues with that, we can get those done.
I don't.
All right, Commissioner?
I move we sign these contracts for senior services and for transportation. Contract number 24 IHEA 181459 and contract number 24 IHEA 81811459.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to sign the contracts, one for the senior services of Montezuma County in the amount of $142,750.95, and the contract number 24 IHEA 181459. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then we have another one in the amount of $50,000, and this contract number is 24 IHEA 181459. Any discussion on this one?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Looks like I'm almost there. Okay, do we have the next Clay and Sarah South?
Sure.
Okay, it is 9:20, and it's being the time set aside for a public hearing. Would you call the roll, please, Kim?
Commissioner Candelaria.
Here.
Commissioner Lindsey.
Here.
Commissioner Copenhaver.
Here.
Administrator Anderson.
Here.
Attorney McLaren.
Here.
And Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for review and determination regarding a proposed amendment application to the Jason's single lot development submitted by Clay and Sarah South on property located at 23286 Road T, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 3.28 acres more or less, and Summer Camp Cattle LLC on property located at to be determined Road T, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 70.61 acres more or less, both located east of Road 23, north of Road S, situated in Section 21, Township 37 North, Range 16 West, N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, August 15th, 2023 at 9:20 a.m. in the Commissioners' Hearing Room, Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the Planning Office online services at https://co-montezuma-co.smartgovcommunity.com public home. You may also contact the Planning Department at 970-565-2801 with questions. Dated this 14th day of July, 2023. Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado. Published in the Journal on Wednesday, August 1st, 2023.
All right, thank you, Kim. Okay, Doug?
Yeah, so this is basically a boundary line adjustment, but being that Jason's single lot development is a subdivision lot, it is being amended. Can you scroll, Travis, to the plat map? There. So when the one is switching from the west, or excuse me, from the east to the west, Summer Camp Cattle originally had the access on the west side of that single lot development. But what they would have to do is bring a driveway in there and go clear back across to the east side of the property to go south. So they are doing the boundary line adjustment to switch the property that Summer Camp has on the west to the east. Then the utilities and driveway will be a straight shot south to the Summer Camp Cattle property. So they're basically just swapping east and west boundaries. There's a 40-foot easement there.
Mhm. Okay. Do you have anything to add?
No, we just, like we said, we had 40 feet on the west side when we divided that. And now our son Matt wants to build way down in the middle of our 70 acres. And we would have to come down that side, go all across Clay and Sarah's back, and then all the way down. Besides bothering them, it would be a lot of more expense to come down, where otherwise we just switch the 40 feet over. We can come just straight down that whole line on the east.
Okay. And there's no objection to anything as far as switching the?
Nope.
Okay.
No change in the single lot other than,
Just the access, just the 40-foot,
right.
moving it from one side to the other.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
40 feet, and they're happy because they don't want us driving clear across their back
Mhm.
of their property, right behind their back door either, so it's much less expensive for us than to have to come straight and across and straight.
Right, okay.
So everybody's happy that way.
Questions, commissioners?
No.
Okay, well then, I will open this application up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this application, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record prior to providing your comments, and you may address the board at this time.
My name's Roger Baker. I live at 23360 Road T, which adjoins the south property on the east side. I might say that we're friends with the Souths, and I recognize that they're co-applicants for this amendment, but I have to respectfully oppose it on the grounds that moving this proposed driveway to the east side will affect me. It would put that driveway about 100 feet from my house, and it'll affect our solitude and the peacefulness that we have in our backyard by having that driveway go from the north to the south there. I'd like to point out that in the application it states under item 8 that, well, the question is made is, are there exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions which make the request necessary. And I don't feel like this situation is an extraordinary circumstance. I feel like the original lot subdivision for the Jason's lot, whatever the name of it is, was approved with that access on the west side. So I feel like it's wrong at this point to decide we're not going to impact the south, but we're going to impact the people on the east side. I don't feel like that's fair to me. Also, the siting of this particular lot, this Jason's lot, Jason's single lot development, I'm not sure how that was determined, but there's a large parcel down there. It didn't have to be located where it is. They could have located it anywhere, and they wouldn't have had this problem with moving this access road. So again, that's unfair to me as a property owner on the east side. Items 10 and 11 on the application state that this request or this amendment will not infringe on the fair and equal treatment of other property owners. I think I've already stated that that would affect me, and so, you know, this amendment would, I feel, affect us, and we feel like it's unfair. It should be denied. I'd also like to point out that the location of this proposed access on the east side is a low area. There's currently a culvert across County Road T in that spot to divert water under County Road T, and it empties into this low area where this access road would be. The original location on the west side doesn't have that problem. There's no culvert up there. It's higher ground, and there wouldn't be a drainage problem. So
Okay.
again, that, you know, I feel like that's a reason to deny the amendment application.
Okay. Your time is up, sir, so thank
Pardon
you.
me?
I said your time is up, so thank you for your comment.
Okay.
We have it on record that you
All
are
right.
against the
All right,
application.
thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I will close the public comment session of this application and bring it back to the commissioners. Gentlemen, question for the applicant.
How far is his driveway away from this? How close will the two driveways be then? His, Mr. Baker's, and this application?
He stated that it's 100 feet from their house. I don't know where his driveway is.
Looking at the map, I mean, it's hard to tell, but
If
Was
you
it-
look to the east, there's several buildings
there's-
there that are on that property line already, so, I think those were probably grandfathered in because they don't meet the setback requirements.
mm-mm.
So any buildings there are gonna shield any headlights that anybody turns in there, going to the east. But a driveway does not have a setback requirement from a property line structure.
I guess the question is, what's the adverse impact? I mean, is there gonna be an adverse impact? Because there are certainly driveways all over the county that
There's-
that
Right.
exist very near one another, and just because a driveway exists near another driveway, that's not necessarily an adverse impact.
And planning and zoning was unanimous to recommend it for approval.
I guess that's, I mean, I understand his comments, but again, when you look at the term adverse impact, you know, is it really adverse, and can it be mitigated? So, I mean, we can, or, anyway.
It's been surveyed and looked at, and there's not in their opinion, a a house that is that close to the driveway. It's been looked at.
Sure.
I mean, there's a shed that faces the other way, and there is an adverse problem to have the driveway come down the other side, go all the way across the South's property. I mean,
Right.
literally from one end to the other across their property, which they do not want someone driving back and forth the whole property right by their back door to the other side and then down, plus the adverse cost to my son from having to come down all the way across, make two corners, and have that pull instead of actually coming straight down.
Mhm.
And we had looked at the culvert. The culvert's not in use because there's pipelines that were put in the field up above. And so the culvert's not in use, and it's on that side anyway, it does not interfere with, there's 40 feet where the driveway will be.
Well, Rob has a statement on the
Yeah,
driveway permit anyway, correct?
yeah.
Correct.
Whether a culvert has to be added or
Exactly.
not.
And the house is going to be like the 70 acres, it's going to be like 30 acres down. I mean,
Sure.
it's not going, it's just the driveway down
Okay,
to the house. It's not gonna be something built right here with a lot of commotion. It's two people, only in the middle of the field, of the
Okay.
acreage, sorry.
all right, commissioners, any other questions? If not,
I think it's.
I would so move we approve the single lot development submitted by Clay and Sarah South on property located 23286 Road T, Dolores.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to accept the proposed amendment application to the Jason single lot development submitted by Clay and Sarah South on property located at 23286 Road T, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 3.28 acres more or less. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I will close the public hearing. Thank you, ma'am, you have been approved, and have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Nelda Jones? Do we have? All right, we are on time and being set aside for a public hearing. Kim, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Candelaria.
Here.
Commissioner Lindsey.
Here.
Commissioner Copenhaver.
Here.
Administrator Anderson.
Here.
Attorney McLaren.
Here.
Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for review and determination regarding a proposed two-lot moderate subdivision and AR 3-9 rezoning application submitted by Nelda Jones on property located at 31522 Road W, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 17.50 acres more or less, located south of Road W, east of Road 31, situated in Section 2, Township 37 North, Range 15 West, N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, August 15th, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. in the Commissioners' Hearing Room, Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the Planning Office online service at https://co-montezuma-co.smartgovcommunity.com, public home. You may also contact the planning department at 970-565-2801 with questions. Dated this 14th day of July 2023. Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado. Published in the Journal on Wednesday, August 1st, 2023. My apologies, I can't talk.
That's okay, Road W, Road West, we're all good with it.
We'll figure it out.
All right, thank you, Kim. All right, Don, you give us an overview on this one?
Yeah, the applicants are proposing to split roughly 3.5 acres off of the existing 17.5 acre parcel. There's already an existing residence there that will remain on the larger piece, and the new residence will be built on the 3.5 acres. That's there on the northwest corner, just south of Road West.
Got it. All right,
Planning and zoning was unanimous to recommend it for approval.
okay, Ms. Jones, would you like to add anything?
We're just ready to get the house up there
Okay,
instead.
all right, very good. Commissioners, any questions at this time? Okay. Well, then, I will open this application up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this application, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record prior to providing your comments, and you may address the board at this time. Okay, seeing no public comment, I'll close the public comment session of this application and bring it back to the commissioners. Gentlemen.
What about water? Is there,
The existing residence is off a cistern, and the new residence will be off a cistern.
That's gonna be put in by Russ at American Home. It's gonna be a new system and a septic tank. All that's gonna be in.
Question?
Nope.
Okay.
I would so move we approve the proposed two-lot moderate subdivision in AR 3 through 9 rezoning application submitted by Nelda Jones, property located at 31522 Road W, Dolores.
second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept a proposed two-lot moderate subdivision in AR 3 through 9 rezoning application submitted by Nelda Jones on property located at 31522 Road W, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 17.5 acres more or less. Any further discussion?
I think that we've had proposals from that area before where there was wanting to subdivide larger parcels, and we turned it down because of the water situation, and I think this is, we're creating more and more
I can't get this thing
Water
to shut
dock.
up.
situations. That's what concerns me.
For-
Does this meet the requirements of what the state's requires us to do?
So cisterns are acceptable? Are they, I mean, obviously they're not tied to a municipal system, but they are still in our land use code acceptable, right? They're permissible?
Correct.
So as far as a larger development, I think because everything up there right now, in my,
Sorry about that.
I think we know who's buying lunch today.
That's my turn anyway.
I think you might be buying for the room.
It's got a mind of its own.
I guess,
So oh, go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, on a large-scale development, then definitely, the cost of infrastructure to provide a water line to that area would need to be, looked at, as opposed to, Basically, she's just splitting that off for family there to have their own lot and their own house. It's an existing cistern used residential lot, so it would just be the same conditions. But if we were looking at a larger scale subdivision, the developer would have to look at providing all that infrastructure. I would not advise a 6, 7 lot, 5 lot subdivision that's cistern only. It would have to be a unique situation and something where, there would be a demand for that and water would not be available due to the terrain, the location.
So I hear what you're saying, because Mancus has come to us several times about their water dock. However, I'm not sure Dolores has made mention of their water dock at all.
I guess the overall concern is if you keep doing one here, one here, one here, one here. I mean, I understand what Don's saying. If you've got 6 or 7, then probably a cistern's not gonna be appropriate. But if we're approving one here and then we're gonna approve one, I mean, we're gonna get more of these types of requests. Pretty soon, we're gonna start to really put a strain on the local water docks. It's tough.
Well, but just as what was presented yesterday with the LID situation, we're taking 25 lots, 50 homes off.
50 people.
Or, I'm sorry, 50 people by creating that LID to put that water system in. So by 1 or 2 that's been created, we remove 50. So I understand your reluctance, but again, like I said, Dolores, I don't think has ever said anything about their water dock or having any issues with it. And Montezuma Water Company's water docks are not very far away from there.
Right. We haven't heard anything about Dolores's water dock having any issues. I know the town of Mancus has been looking at doing a card reader system, and only those people within the permitted area would be allowed to use that water dock, because you'd have to have your own key card to operate it. But I think they're looking at the cost of that to be implemented. But that would control and restrict their water dock for their local area users versus anybody and everybody coming through.
Mm-hmm. So
But I don't know where they stand on that.
I
but-
definitely understand the concern. But it is permissible and acceptable per the land use code,
Correct,
so it complies.
correct.
Any further discussion?
We should explore that down the road, see what stress sets off, their concern as far as that water dock goes. How much more can they handle?
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sheriff, but last night in that meeting, didn't they say that their water plant can produce 1 million gallons a day? So they're not even coming close to their capacity. That was actually discussed at the Dolores meeting last night.
Correct,
And I
their
think
capacity is available.
I
And
think
so
he
I
said
don't
they were
think the
only
water
using-
dock has any restrictions, because if you need water from the plant, it goes right there to the dock. They have some limitations east because of the size of the pipeline. They pretty much are out of enough service volume and pressure east, so that would have to be improvements done there, some utility expansion, but it's not due to volume, it's just due to their lines.
So is it everything on top are on systems right now, correct? On W East and West? Are they, or well?
There's a few wells, but it's pretty much all cisterns.
All cisterns, that's kind of what I thought. So, okay. Then it's time for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. You have been approved, ladies. Thank you for your time. Yep.
Some of the is when you start approving these single development deals, and somebody comes in and wants a big one, lawsuit. Single lot cisterns, we can't approve 5 or 6 lots, but we're gonna approve 5 or 6 single ones scattered out. To me, we're just setting ourselves up to get,
But it's permissible.
and not what, if you look at the state law, it's not permitted. Because the water dock is not reliable, and we're supposed to, when we approve it like this, I don't know, Ian needs to look at that law. Because it basically says we're supposed to be able to guarantee a water source for so many years. That's in the state law. We need to look at it, seriously.
Okay. Next up, we have our public comment session. And, I guess, I'm
Time's
sorry.
up.
Your time's up. This clock's going off the wall
Yeah.
over here.
Got it figured out, all right.
I can go get my phone if you need.
Well, it's
No.
better than that thing.
We're good to go. All right. Anybody wishing to speak during public comment will be limited to 3 minutes or until we can get this phone to shut off. Or depending on the number of people wishing to
We got
speak,
it.
it may be reduced to allow all the members of the public the opportunity to address the board. When addressing the board, please state your name and address for the record prior to providing your comments. Comments to individual supervisors or staff are not permitted, and participants may not yield their times to other. And with that, the public comment session is open. Okay, seeing no public comment, we're going to go right down into our department reports. First off, we have Sheriff's Office, Mr. Nowlin.
Good morning. Let's see if
Good
this
morning.
comes up. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Okay, Travis, you're gonna have to handle that for me. because
Sure.
This is not working.
I don't know what's going on. This is not functioning, but that one is in the back, so.
Okay, well, there it is then, okay. I think, yep, okay, you're gonna have to look behind you. Doesn't matter. Calls for service in the month of July was 1,870. That was sent forward, so you can see where a lot of the calls for service were at. Probably the most important, we had stole, as far as property crimes, 2 stolen vehicles, 4 were recovered, 2 out of jurisdiction. Everything, the traffic is still up quite a bit as far as traffic contacts, speeding violations, and complaints throughout the county on different roads. Probably one of the most important things to talk about is what's happened in the month of July when it came to crimes against persons. We did have 1 assist on a homicide investigation that occurred in Cortez. And then the next day we had a homicide that we investigated north of Dolores. There have been arrests in both of those cases. First one in Cortez was that night. We have investigated and found the person responsible for the homicide that happened in the county. That person is in custody, charged with second-degree murder. Bond was $1 million, which is the highest bond we've ever received, which is about time. The same weekend, we had an attempted murder. That person was arrested and charged with attempted second-degree murder, in custody. Bond was $10,000 PR. but this person doesn't want to get out of jail, so wants to stay there. This is what we're finding in a lot of our arrests, is that these are repeat offenders or with some type of, some issues going on, whether it be controlled substances or whatnot. It's what we call institutionalized. They just can't function outside of incarceration, and this is where they're at, which is unfortunate. But we've had quite a few involvements with the CIP team, which is really beginning to help, especially with the change in their hours of operation. So that is assisting us in a lot of those cases, those calls for service. Probably some of the other ones, we had a conviction of the serious bodily injury assault to a child, convicted by a jury. That sentencing for that individual will be, I believe, in September. We did have a conviction, a guilty plea, and a second-degree murder stabbing of a woman last year. That sentence for this juvenile will be in August the 28th of this month. So a lot of these crimes are starting to, we're starting to see more and more of these crimes against persons. But we're working pretty well with all the other law enforcement agencies and the Colorado Bureau of Investigation's assistance. Any questions about the calls for service that we've had? Okay. As far as the jail, we have 71 inmates today. It fluctuates. Over the weekend, we had 11 in, 12 out. It's just that way every single week. We have 7 being held for that are going to be serving sentences in the Department of Corrections. Those will be transferred within the next week or two. So we've been getting them out as soon as we can. And on August the 1st, I don't know if anybody saw it, that August the 1st we saw an article that came out in the Cortez Journal in reference to the cost of crime on Colorado, especially in Montezuma County. We're within the top 10 for the cost of crime for our citizens in this county, because it affects not only public service costs, but public defender costs, fire, rescue, EMS. Biggest thing is the insurance costs. Came up to, we were just below Pueblo County. So we're in the top 10. That's quite a bit, 147%. Where most of the residents or citizens in Colorado cost about $4,623 per person last year. Last year for Montezuma County, it was $5,639 per person is the cost for crime. These are statistics that we get to see the impacts of the crimes that we have in the county, and doing everything we can to try and prevent these crimes, which we have, is a paramount thing that we try to do. Okay. Any questions about so far?
You said it was 5,000 what?
$5,639 per person is what the cost is. Biggest thing is the insurance and the cost of our incarcerations. You know how much it costs to incarcerate people when they are arrested. The cost of your district attorney, public defenders, all the cases all the charges that are being filed against crimes that we're actually apprehending.
And how do they come up with that cost? I mean, obviously that data is all put in there, but who does that cost analysis?
Apparently, who does this is the Common Sense Institute, which is the senior economist is Stephen Byers, who did this study in Colorado. It was kind of interesting reading. And when you look at the costs, one of the biggest thing is auto theft. The cost of the theft of vehicles is just growing. That's why we do everything we can to try and prevent these thefts. But apprehending those vehicles and getting those costs reduced helps, but there's insurance costs on top of that. I can tell you that anybody that has comprehensive insurance on their vehicle, if it's stolen, the insurance companies tend to total them. and you're never going to get what the vehicle was worth to you.
So is that
That's-
number then, that data is just for the people that are insured?
What's that?
The data that they're using are just for the insured people?
No, it's across the board. The costs for every county and the crimes that are committed there, what the costs are. You would think that with a population that we have of 26 to 29,000 people, it wouldn't be as much as Pueblo County, which is a high crime area at times. So it's just those costs is what they're looking at, and that's where it was developed. I just thought it was kind of interesting to see where we fit in that, especially when it came up that Montezuma County is within the top 10. It's like, holy smokes, I never would have figured that that's what was happening. But I can understand the cost of it. So it is. And the biggest problem that we have is the repeat offenders. Most of the crimes that we have are repeat offenders. And when our state legislators reduce the penalties on these crimes, it incentivizes these people to commit more crimes. So it all affects everybody. So I believe the county fair went off without a hitch. There was never any problems or issues there. So that was a good thing last month. Seemed to be.
Mostly. We've heard a few.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Wasn't brought to my attention that there was a problem. Crime-wise or otherwise?
Yeah, just one. The gentleman that was in here last week, I guess they had to,
Oh, there
they
was
said
a-
they called
There,
the
yeah, we
sheriff's
did have
department, but
a deputy
there
dispatched
was
over a disagreement or argument
Yeah.
or whatever it was, but I don't think that it was too serious, so, okay. All right.
perfect.
Very good. Questions?
Nope.
Mrs.
Have
Lemire?
you seen that much homicide activity in the time you've been sheriff?
What's that?
And have you seen before that much homicide activity like we've had here just recently
No,
since you've been sheriff?
no, I haven't. One every couple of years, maybe.
Yeah.
It's not that often, but I'll tell you, I'll be real honest with everybody. The problems that we have with people anymore is that they just can't communicate with each other, or there's issues that are really not that important that they make important. And where there used to be just arguments, then it was go to fisticuffs. Now you grab a knife or a gun, and it seems to be that quick. And that is the problem. I don't know what it is other than just the way that our society is today. And but I'll tell you, the assistance that I get from the vast majority of our citizens in these investigations is just priceless. They really come out and help. And I'll tell you, that's what helps us solve a lot of these crimes very quickly. So I appreciate all of that. Okay.
Was looking, and I did find that article, so I'm gonna read it, see what these guys are
Yeah.
proposing.
Our calls for service are never going to go back to the way they used to be, okay? They just never will. You know, last year we had close to 18,000 calls for service, and we could actually see an increase of that for 2023 before the year is out. You look at the categories and whatnot, this is what we're called to deal with, so. But I can tell you that, again, I can't say just how proud I am of the members of the sheriff's office and the work that they do each and every day and night. So, okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sheriff.
All right.
Real quick, Sheriff, did you want to present your position?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
You bet.
Okay, I want to put that forward. So this is the proposed pay increase for salaries and positions that we actually, after several meetings, came up with that I believe are appropriate. Have you all been able to take a look at that and see that per division, per position? Came up with an estimated by those increases of about $280,000 of an increase in salaries there.
Questions? And we don't have to take any action on this today either, gentlemen, if you
We're
if you
gonna
haven't
have to
had
wait
time.
and see what HC.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's,
this has to be presented to you so that you see
Mhm.
Yeah.
that these are the salaries that have been set, and your input has already been given, so there it is, and I understand that,
the
okay?
assessor didn't do much for our punch bowl yesterday.
No, it doesn't. You know, from what I heard, it's like, my God, the sky really isn't falling, but it looks like it, so.
There's a
I
big
know.
crack in it.
I know, there's a crack in it, okay? But it rained, okay? That's a good thing, all right? Let's just keep the wildfires down, that's all I ask, okay? So, all right? Okay.
Only in certain spots.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's one of these things that we just have to juggle as much as we can to make things work. And I would just appreciate that, you know, we just all try to work together with it so that we can make things happen, and we can continue with the service that is so very vitally important to our citizens. Okay? All right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you. All right, Coroner's Office.
Good morning.
Morning.
So Steve kind of touched on it last month, was kind of a crazy month. We had 12 coroner cases last month, 5 hospice, and then we did 4 autopsies. We didn't have any motor vehicle accidents. We did have 3 suicides last month and 2 homicides. So now the year-end total has changed a little bit. Total cases, 158. 90 of those were coroner cases, 68 were hospice. We did 32 autopsies. We've had 4 motor vehicle accidents. As of Sunday, that brought us up to 10 suicides for the year. We've had 1 overdose and 4 homicides. Heavy questions?
On the hospice cases, George, you don't have to get involved in those, do you? I mean,
Just research the medical records and stuff on those. Occasionally, if they go with another funeral home, we'll have to go and pick up the individual. If the funeral home can't come over, like if they're coming from Hood, some of them come from Grand Junction, Montrose. So we'll have to go pick them up and take them back to the facility until the funeral home can get here. But mainly just to review medical records, make sure, a lot of times it slips through the cracks. They might have had a fall and they got a subdural bleed and they get put on comfort care. Well, a physician can't sign that out. And sometimes they slip through the cracks and they try to do it and then the state will kick it back. So I try to stay on top of it beforehand. Same thing if they fall and break a hip and get put on comfort care and put on hospice, the physician can't sign it out. So a coroner has to go. So that's
Okay.
about all we do with the coroner or with the hospice cases. And then pick up the reports and keep the paperwork.
yeah, okay,
So,
all right.
okay.
That's all I had. Gentlemen?
I don't. Thank
Question?
you, George.
Does anybody have any questions or anything on the pickup?
No.
I mean, we're, you guys know the situation we're in. I'll just say it. I
Yeah.
mean, we've talked about reducing the fleet, not adding to the fleet. This is an add. You know, it's a, you know, we can look at everything, you know, and we do, and everybody is always wanting to add more and more and more. but at some point in time, when do we stop adding? Especially after, like Kent said, you know, our punch bowl got pretty well shattered yesterday after the assessor was in here.
Sure.
And we don't even know to what degree, you know, is this guy falling? No, I would agree with the sheriff, this guy's not falling. However, to live within our means and knowing that we're gonna have that big of a reduction or a potential reduction, how do we keep adding? That's my concern.
Well,
So
something to-
Even though it's.
Go ahead.
It's negligible as you presented, it's still an ad. And that's my biggest concern. I mean, our fiduciary responsibility is probably is our greatest responsibility. And the ads make it very difficult.
Sure. Well, the only addition it would be for a couple years would be the insurance, which is $768. And instead of adding, if it would work, we could take off $1,000 off my deputy pay, and that would cover that. It's got good tires, it's got good glass. I've had it from day one. There's not a thing wrong with it. It's been serviced. I know how it's been driven. So it's not going to cost anything to keep it. It's not like there's going to be 2 trucks running around all the time. It'll sit at the sheriff's office until needed and then picked up, respond to calls, come back. And if we don't have that vehicle, there would be the same amount of mileage. It'd be cheaper on mileage because that truck gets better gas mileage than my new truck does. So whenever it's running, well, it would be a little bit less in fuel. But the same fuel is going to be run. Whether I have to come back and then go to another call, it's going to be the same mileage. So it's not like you're going to have twice as many oil changes, twice as much fuel, things of that nature. And it's something that I feel that we need to have. Just like one of our double calls we had this year was here in town, then we had a double fatal out at the Four Corners, and they had the highway shut down. And if I would have been, I was already close to an hour out just traveling to the Four Corners, but if I was another hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, traffic shut down, they can't open it, they can't do anything till the coroner gets there. Because bodies can't be moved, they can't do anything with the body. They can't even find out who it is.
I
So,
understand. I mean, we understand all of
Sure.
the situation. It's
and
just a
I'm
matter of
trying to show that it
where do
wouldn't
we-
add anything if we took money out of my budget in a different place to help pay for that. Or if that doesn't work, I even have people that support the coroner's office that even said that they would be willing to make a donation to the county to pay for the insurance. So that
We're
would be
not-
at no cost.
We're not asking for donations.
Yeah, no, but
We're
I'm
not-
just saying that if it comes down to a money thing, that can be handled. So,
How many miles is on that truck?
has 126,000 on it. It took 20 months to get it. Whenever they ordered the new one, it was just under 100,000.
I think when we were first looking at it, Shane had that one, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he had that one positioned to go someplace else until it hit its 150,000. Is that correct, Travis?
It's my understanding it was gonna be rotated
Or
totally
was that
out.
one going plumb out? So again, to
But-
keep within that mileage range, it still has basically 20-some thousand miles of life left in it before we get rid of it at the 150, so. Again, because it wasn't to add a vehicle, it was to
Sure.
replace a vehicle. So that was the whole premise of that vehicle being purchased
Yeah.
anyway. Otherwise, it could have ran for the next 26,000 miles before it had to be replaced. So as we look at the reduction of the fleet, that's what we're trying to do, is like, how do we reduce the entire fleet? I totally understand what you're asking for. It's just a matter of how do we pay for it?
Sure. And I threw out a couple of options,
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
okay.
Thank you, George.
All
Anything
right,
else?
thank you.
Okay, thanks, George. Mr. Spratlin, Emergency Manager, the master of disaster.
Master of disaster. Dr. Disaster. Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Morning, Ms. Kim. Ian, Mr. Anderson. All right, so report's done. It's on the webpage. Everything's fine out there. How's that?
Hell Road looks like it's still there.
Everything L's still there. It flooded a little yesterday. We ended up with 10 lightning fire strikes. They're working on a couple this morning. Nothing major. L Road got flooded and then it unflooded quickly. Basically, my report's sort of short and sweet. I sent you the lightning attack. There's over 100 lightning strikes in our area. That was kind of a show last night. And 5 strikes up at Mesa Verde. They're working on 1 or 2 now. 1 up at Yellow Jacket, 1 on Ute Mountain. But a total of 10. That's all the way up to Disappointment, etc. So doing all right. My driveway's full of silt and mud, but that's a lot better than dust. So I'm happy. Yeah. Then you have a copy of the report, so pretty much everything's going really well. I added in a CIP quarterly in there as well, Community Intervention Program, kind of where they're at, so that's updated. We're moving ahead with that. Actually, it's been great. We're 7 days a week now with the CIP team. We did start the program in May of 2022, and we had in 2022, we had 444 incidents, and now year to date for 23, we're up to 545 incidents. So we're moving ahead, like the sheriff said, it's been needed. A lot of the first responders are excited that, you know, they have us out there. They're going to just about everything that's out there to try to calm all the situations down. So it's been working. We got a lot of success stories. Training, drills, it's all in there. That's it. I'm a happy Mr. Disaster.
Where do we stand on our generators?
So FEMA is asking questions now. So they read the grant, and usually it's 99% sure that once they answer some of the finer questions that they didn't read in the 42 documents that I submitted. I just reiterated what's in those documents, and I'm hopeful, very hopeful, September 1st maybe, we'll start ahead with that project. So we'll be good to go. And then we have funding for different odds and ends throughout the county through that all hazards grant. We're waiting for them to get back with us. It's usually the way the state works as far as state grants, Homeland Security stuff. You submit everything, but nothing comes in until mid-September or end of September, and then they say, okay, you can backdate that to July 1st. So we're waiting on a few grants for that right now, including our team grant as well. So that's
So another 30 days, basically.
I'm hoping less, but you know, I'm not FEMA. Yeah, pass it to the feds. Just,
Yeah.
I'm waiting on those lovely people to give me money. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
You're not FEMA, you're SEMA.
I'm SEMA, yeah, I am. Colorado Emergency.
County.
Oh, and County Emergency Manager. Yeah. I'm just waiting up the ladder chain for money.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're
All
good
right.
though. Everything's fine. I'm happy. You guys happy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
You
you for
gotta
the
smile
email.
if you're happy.
Thank you for the email and the clarification on the stuff in Mancos last night
Yeah,
also.
I drove by it. The pictures don't do it good. It's a little mound. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
And the water is like, got all the dust off it, so we're good.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for checking into that for us.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks guys.
All right. Okay, jumping into unfinished business, but before we do that, I do see, under new business, I might jump ahead to go ahead and allow you ladies the opportunity to get out of here. We have Sonia Buffington and Janice Martinez. We're gonna jump down to new business, and, we'll talk about some juvenile services planning committee. So I will warn you, turn those mics on when you're speaking and pull them just as close to you as you can so that everybody can hear you.
Perfect, okay. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you for your time today. As you've said, my name is Sony Buffington, and with me, instead of Janice Martinez, I have Madison Mahaffey. Madison is our brand-new CYDC coordinator. This is her second day, so
Wow.
we're throwing her to the wolves. No, just teasing. So we're here to present to you a proposed membership list of the Juvenile Services Planning Commission as required by Colorado Revised Statute 19-2.5-30T. 302. JSP has been in the 22nd Judicial District since the mid-1990s and includes members from both Montezuma and Dolores counties. JSPC is the committee that is tasked with approving and overseeing a plan to allocate resources for our Colorado Youth Detention Continuum, or CYDC program. CYDC works with juveniles, mostly in the pre-adjudicated phase, of juvenile justice to manage detention stays, provide early resources, such as evaluations, sobriety monitoring, curfew management, and other court-ordered treatment or conditions. We meet routinely with juveniles to encourage adherence to court conditions and attendance at court hearings, and we work closely with diversion, probation, and the Department of Youth Services to transition juveniles to these programs upon sentencing. Colorado Revised Statute 19-2.5-302 mandates, if possible, that we include in our membership representatives from the Department of Social Services, local school districts, local law enforcement agencies, local probation department, the Division of Youth Services, private citizens, the DA's office, the Public Defender's office, the community mental health representatives, and concerns of municipalities. We come before our Board of County Commissioners every 2 years to update and have consensus as to our membership. Some of you have seen us here before, although not me personally. We believe that we are presenting a proposed list of members that are representative of the intent of that statute, and we would ask that you approve our list of members and are open to any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Any question?
No.
Commissioner, none? Okay.
How are the private citizens selected for this committee? Do you know?
So the way that this happened, our private citizen now was a former attorney, and when she was a public defender, and when she left, she just requested that she be part of the board continuing as a private citizen, and the board agreed to allow that to happen.
Okay.
That's actually a big list, which most of the lists we look at are not that large, so.
It does require quite a bit of membership, and it is also representative of both Montezuma and Dolores counties, so we do have some duplicate positions. If they're individual to the districts or to the counties, then we bring them into the board.
Okay. All right.
I would so move we approve the proposed membership list of the local Juvenile Services Planning Commission.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the list proposed for the Juvenile Services Planning Committee as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Your time. Have a nice
Thank you.
day.
Thank you.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Okay, next, we are going to go up to unfinished business. We have a discussion and possible signing of the Colorado National Collaborative Grant. This was presented yesterday by our Public Health Director, and Ian has looked it over This is funding for amendment number 3. And the one is in the amount of $100,000, and the other one is in the amount of $32,728. Anything other than that, Ian, that this is just a continuation
Yeah.
of the grant?
This is a continuation of the grant, and I guess the one thing I would add, we did have a brief discussion yesterday about numbers and trying to quantify the impact of the work that the collaborative is doing, and obviously, it's really difficult, especially in a community this size, to quantify what's making a difference and what's not, just because of the peaks and valleys. One thing that I didn't mention yesterday that I think I would just briefly add today, I've done some work with and for the collaborative group over there, and they really do a lot of good work. We've had some crossover with our social services department and the work that they're doing, specifically with veterans, and I think, I don't know, obviously the numbers will tell the tale, but I think it is an important program for the community, and I know that they've put some pretty neat stuff together. And so that was just a little thing that I didn't say yesterday, but I wanted to add today.
Okay, thank you, Ian. Commissioners, anything else?
So we're just approving the amendment number 3, the 2 parts
Yep.
there.
Yep.
And what it does is it just extends the funding for an additional
Okay.
fiscal year.
Okay. I move we approve amendment number 3 to this contract in an amount of $100,000 on the one portion and $32,728 on the other portion, to increase the current contract maximum to $866,512.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept and sign the Colorado National Collaborative Contract, amendment number 3, in the total of $132,728, as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we then had a discussion on Proposition HH yesterday. I don't know if we need to take any action on that because we obviously don't have any numbers until later in the year. So, more to come as that moves forward. We did have a presentation yesterday by Farmers Telephone on a capital project, and they were asking for an LOS, letter of support. And I don't know, Travis, did they give you a template or?
They're supposed to send something over.
Okay, well, we'll move that. We can do that next week also. But basically, it's for unserved and underserved population of Montezuma County, and it basically reaches into the area that they serve, their biggest area, which would be the Pleasant View West area, as it was depicted on the map. But there were other spots that they also had areas of underserved and unserved. So as we get that, we'll look at a letter of support moving forward. Next on the list, we have a discussion as it relates to the coroner vehicle, keeping a backup vehicle. He just talked about that this morning. I'm not sure if we have to take any action on that today.
It's up to the commission as to what they want to do with that vehicle. So, just from my experience in law enforcement, when you've got multiple deceased individuals at different locations, sometimes you're there for 2-3 hours waiting for a coroner to come. Obviously, it's up to the commissioners on the best avenue that you gentlemen want to take, but it's almost to its 150,000 miles. Like, one option we have is to let it ride out its 150,000 miles and then reevaluate, or just do away with the vehicle. But we also, I think, need to consider that if the coroner's out of town on a transport, years gone by, you used to be able to call the local mortuary to come to the scene and do the transports, but we can't do that anymore. So that's just some additional information.
Well, and the other thing that I was thinking as it relates to his budget, if there's some things that we can move and alter in there, he didn't bring this up during his budget hearings, either one of them, but if there's a way to move those funds around and leave them the same, it still is a cost. And it's not a reduction of the fleet, it's an increase of the fleet, which again, I already stated was my biggest concern. So if you want to take action on it today, fine, and if you don't, we can look at the budget and see, because it is a cost, and it will be a cost, because it is an increase, it's an add. So what are you guys' discussion?
I think what we should do is look and see if he has some money in there to help with that cost in his budget. If he does have that,
So then put it
I
back to
personally,
the
since we're not,
budget?
put it back into his budget, what it's gonna cost us to keep it. I mean, it's not an expense of another vehicle, but there's still expense, just like what you're talking about, to having it in the fleet. So if he's got the money in his budget to where he can pay those expenses, I say let him keep it as that backup, because we're not buying another vehicle.
Well, then we'll take another look at it through his budget, and then we can bring that back and present it in a couple weeks, probably?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, what do you, Kent, what do you think?
I think so.
Like I said, we can look at it through that budget process and then bring it back in a couple weeks, and then we can decide.
And I can see where that's gonna extend the life of his vehicle too, because otherwise,
He'll be using it for everything.
he'll be using it for everything, so if we can get some use out of this one and put it back into his budget, I don't have any problem with it, since it's not
Okay.
going out and purchasing another vehicle.
We will
We've already
put
paid
that
for it.
into the budget process to see if we can see what
Make it
those funds
work.
will work.
Yeah.
Okay. We also had a discussion yesterday as it related to the sheriff's purchase of a Chevy Tahoe. We're gonna move this, it sounded like yesterday, I should say. This decision on the purchase of that basically would be moved down the road because we're waiting on, money from the casino.
Yeah.
So until we get that money from the casino, we're not purchasing this vehicle at this point in time. And also, we needed the actual cost of the vehicle instead of a projected $1,200 increase. So we'll move that one down the road. It was presented, well, it wasn't presented yesterday by the sheriff. Our attorney put the Dolores contract for providing the town of Dolores law enforcement. That wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to present that to us, so we're gonna move on about that too. We also have a decision as it's related to the Road 42 Water Users Association and an LID, Local Improvement District. They have worked diligently, and Commissioner, I'll let you chime in on this one because it's your area and you probably know it better than anybody, but a couple of years ago, we did give them approval for a spot where they could build a water tank, and now they are in the process of trying to form an LID to serve the 25 lots up there, 50 people, with the transmission of the water lines so that everybody can be on a potable water system. Their attorney was in here yesterday, and that would be another overlay of a tax entity in that area for the entirety of paying off the note. And I'll let you add to that, Commissioner.
Okay, this area is the area up around Jackson Reservoir, up that road there, 42, and it basically goes up to the Forest Service line. It includes all those houses up through that area. They've all been hauling water from the Mancos Water Dock for all these years, so it's gonna take out quite a few people actually using the Mancos Water Dock. They can purchase water from rural water, Mancos Rural Water, and actually put in the tank that Jim's talking about, because they did get the property all okayed for that to happen. It'll put, not only will it help with them using the water dog, but it'll also take down the traffic on our road up through there, because you take that many people hauling water up that road, it'll take the traffic down quite a bit. So it'll help that whole area in there. Always, whenever those things happen, you end up with more people probably doing some more development up there. But that's always one of the consequences of actually putting water into an area. Also, as we've seen out west all the way into Dolores County, when those water lines went out that way, well, it changed a lot of things out there. So I'm sure it will change some up there, but it's good in the sense that those people won't be hauling so much water all the time.
Well, and it's one way that, as this commission, we can create this LID, and it's not set out to the general populace of taxpayers. The people within this overlay of this tax district will be paying for it themselves. It's just that we have to create the district for them so that it complies with the process of creating the taxing district over that. So, anything else, gentlemen?
No, this creates a really good source of water for those folks up there. And like Gerald said, it's going to reduce some traffic quite a bit up there. Kim, do you have that resolution?
And so we did get an email from the attorney yesterday. The soonest that he can get publication in is next week. And so the soonest that we can have that public hearing would be the 26th of September. And that would be at the regular meeting, assuming we have one on that date. I think we do, right, Travis? Okay.
Okay. So we have no action to take on that today. It's just a matter of we're moving forward with the process, I think, is our decision today to help the people who make this.
Yep, and we would go ahead and make a motion to set that public hearing on the 26th of September.
So, go ahead, Gerald, I'm sorry.
Okay. I move we set a public hearing on the decision for the Upper Road 42 Water Association for September the 26th.
Yep.
Of
And
2023.
And I don't know what time we want to set that. Planning and zoning, my advice would be to just go ahead and set it at 9:10, and then we can just work the planning and zoning around it. I don't know how you guys want to do it, or we can set it at 10. We don't know what we have for planning and zoning on that date, so.
Well, that's fine. We can set it for 9:10 and we'll just work through them.
Okay.
Sound good?
That's fine.
Okay.
That'll work.
Did you say?
Good for me. Second?
All right, it's been moved and seconded to set a public hearing on September 26th at 9:10 PM for, as it relates to the Road 42 Water Users Association. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving right along, we've already discussed the Senior Services AAA contract along with the Transportation AAA contract. We signed those earlier. And lastly, we have an approval for the 2023 SRS allocation. We did have our meeting, our public meeting with the schools. All three districts were in here. And also this is for the Title III
Yes, sir, Title III funding.
funding under the SRS.
So basically, we put out a 45-day notice for public comment as it relates to the expenditure of the $41,880. And that would be going towards the purchase of the emergency manager's vehicle.
I would so move we approve the 2023 SRS allocation as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the 2023 SRS allocation as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, attorney's report, Mr. McLaren.
Fairly quiet week for me. The one thing we did receive an appeal of the Board of Equalization's decision in that Nolan matter. And so we just received that this morning, and a hearing has been set in front of the Board of Assessment Appeals on November 13th of 2023. So Leslie and I will get together and begin preparations and responses for that and move forward there. Other than that, I don't have anything to report.
Okay. Mr. Anderson.
Busy week, but nothing spectacular to report, other than did attend a CCI meeting, a Zoom meeting as it relates to land use and affordable housing. It's coming back. Senate Bill 213 will be coming back. Not sure how it's going to look in the total scheme of things, but what they're finding now is affordable housing really isn't affordable. For instance, what's affordable in Montezuma County, totally different classification in Erie. So just put that on your radar. It's coming back.
Got it. Okay. Commissioner Lindsey.
Right. Fairly slow week, but did go to Cortez City Council meeting, and along with some liquor renewal licenses and such, they did announce the name of the truck naming contest. They named some of their trucks, and also local match application requesting funds for a federal raise grant was approved. Introduced an ordinance amending the city zoning map for a piece on Lebanon Road, and also a resolution for housing action plan for the city of Cortez, and considered awarding a street project, which they did, and they did a personnel matter, and they were also getting ready to go into their land use planning process. They've started out, and anybody wishes to participate in that, they're more than welcome. So please let your voice be heard in this process rather than after the process is done. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Copenhaver.
Last Wednesday, I attended the Mancus Council meeting. It was a very short meeting, probably only lasted about 30 minutes. Not a lot of stuff on the agenda. They're starting on their budgeting process and all that going on, but there's not much going on as far as their agenda last week. Thursday, I flew up to Denver to participate in the Colorado River Task Force meeting. We had a good meeting, lasted three and a half hours. Lots of participation from the different agencies in the state. Had some consensus on a few things, and every other one of our meetings was supposed to be virtual. Most of the people there felt that they didn't want to do that. They wanted to meet in person. They thought we would be able to do a much better job of meeting in person every time. But I think there's some hitches in the state as far as there was some offers to help pay for the increased number of meetings, but I don't know if the state can take that money. So anyway, it's kind of up in the air whether we're going to meet all the time. But there is a website that's being put out for people to comment on, and I will get that, make it available next week so that people, if they do have some comments they want to bring forward, they'll be able to. There's also going to be a public comment period at the beginning of each one of those meetings for at least 30 minutes to an hour. So it will probably be a limited amount of time that you can speak, but at least if you want to participate, you'll be able to. That was one of the big issues that we were trying to bring forward, is to make sure we had some public participation and the ability to do that. So I will get that and bring that forward here this next week so that people have that website if they want to participate. That's about all I have to report.
All right, very good. Well, I hope your flight situation was better than mine the week before.
It was fine. Mine went up and came back the very same day, and it was packed. It was absolutely packed coming back that evening.
Wow.
That plane was completely full. Had to be 250 people on it.
But you
at
made
least,
it.
But made it.
All right. Well,
We
good
were
deal.
on time.
Good deal. My luck was not as good. Did a, Wednesday evening, was invited to go talk to a women's group at the First National Bank. Spent about an hour and a half. Great talk, informing some of the women in this women's group. Went to a TPR meeting on Thursday, and most of that conversation was, a lot of it was an update of the projects that are going on throughout the state, some of the issues that the state is also having with RFPs, getting people to bid on stuff. Right now, there's way more work than there are people to do the work. And I think everybody is seeing that and having that difficulty there. Looked at some of the long-range planning for the TPR, and we also discussed the stack meeting, and how we're gonna move forward on that. Went to the Dolores meeting last night. Some of the discussions that they had there were the Salter Y environmental assessment. Basically, we've discussed that here before too, how that lawsuit was filed at the 12th hour by the San Juan Citizens Alliance, and specifically as they were at the table for the last 2 to 3 years, and everybody thought that they had something moving forward, and then we dealt with a lawsuit, or we're dealing with a lawsuit now. They did go into executive session, and basically that is to discuss more on their second consideration for their town manager. Ken Charles was on our, he was at the TPR meeting via Zoom, and he did announce there that that would be his last meeting, and I think he's slated to leave at the end of August, and will be gone all of September. There was a lot of public comment. Well, there was public comment based on the traffic in Dolores over Escalante days, and that some of the local people are not real pleased with all of the traffic for the event, and feel that it's doing more harm than good. And so we'll see how the town board moves on that.
So was the request to not have Escalante days, or what?
Well, I think it's more of the location in Flanders Park. You know, there's so much traffic and congestion right there. You know, it was more to move it out to the Joe Royal Park. But, you know, there's gonna be congestion out there also with the softball tournaments going on. So it's just a matter of how they try to work around those. I was able to go through there just as the parade was going on, and then I left immediately after that, so I didn't, you know, it's hard to see the congestion if you're not in there, but not that it really affects us. It's just a matter of that's some of the things that they're dealing with. And that is all that I have to report. We've pretty much discussed everything in unfinished business that we talked about yesterday in our workshop. And that is it. So,
Motion to adjourn.
all right.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn this August 15th, 2023 Board of County Commissioners meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.